Hello and welcome back to my art channel. My name is Schwampy and today I have a guest, meaning I'm not gonna be nervous when I'm talking. Yay me! Hello special guest, introduce yourself.
Hello! I'm so happy to be here again. Again. Thank you for having me as a guest. My name is Sunokami and I am the assistant.
The legendary mythical assistant. Before we get started, full
Discrimination?
disclaimer.
Oops.
Full disclaimer, we both have the sniffles, so A, there might be lots of this, and there might be lots of what you just heard of us trying to say words, but they don't come out because sniffles.
Tis the season.
Tis the season to be sniffles. Tra la 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 la. No. Because life is too short and I don't have that much time.
It's about authenticity.
Authenticity. There you go. Sniffles at work right there. Okay, so today's video is going to be a speed paint video. I'm designing a creature, but it's more like me just having some fun. Because a creature design is a lot more than just drawing pretty little creatures. Ain't that right, Suna?
Of course. Sometimes they're scary.
Sometimes they're cute. So, Suna Okami is an illustrator. She does a lot of watercolor art, and you should definitely check her out. But she's also a big lover of creatures and lots of animals and all that nifty stuff. Why don't we start off by you telling everybody all about your pets? Because you've got a very diverse collection of pets.
Well, yeah, it started when I was little and started catching snails and stuff, and nobody can really stop you. At the moment, I have a bearded dragon, 3 leopard geckos, a dog because you got to have a dog, some dubia roaches, some giant Madagascar hissing roaches.
That's what you heard. Hissing roaches.
They hiss and they're roaches. Also, they're fucking huge. Oh.
Yeah, they judge you while hiss at you. So, what made you decide to, I don't want to say invest, but like invest your time into learning about these specific type of pets?
For some strange reason, I guess, I always liked insects and reptiles and stuff like that. I did grow up with cats and parrots and chickens and dogs, but when I was little, I didn't even know people, especially in my town, kept exotic pets. So when I started working at the zoo, I was immediately put in the reptile and stuff like that. Area, because I had no fear of snakes and reptiles, because I wasn't born with the fear. It's normal to be born with the fear. I have none. I fear venomous and poisonous things, and since those things were not in our zoo, I was fine with everything else. So that's the first time I actually started learning about those types of animals. And later, after I didn't work at the zoo anymore, I really missed working with them. So
you were like, if I can't have them at the zoo, I'm gonna have them at my house. Thank you.
That literally, it was that. Like, I can't. I'm missing this, and I need to take care of something like that. And so it started with Yokai, or Kai, my leopard gecko. That is the first one I got.
Oh, and he is such a beauty. I've seen him, I think.
Yes, you did. He's super tame, and the breeder did an excellent job in breeding it and training him his first week of life, working with him to not be jumpy and stuff. Then later, after that, the same year actually, I got the 2 leopard gecko girls.
And they sure are pretty.
Yes, Furry and Amit. And 2 years later, I finally got my dream a dragon, a bearded dragon. And since that is a big number of bug-eating animals, I of course have to keep their food as well because otherwise you're just going to blow through the money just like that to feed them.
You know, I always found it interesting because I've seen your collection of insects. Let's say collection.
Yeah,
Collection.
it
I
actually
have
is. You can call it a collection.
Okay,
That's
okay,
how
cool,
it's called.
Um, don't you get attached to them? You know, like you're breeding all of these insects for food, for sure, right? And dinner time comes along and you're just standing there holding Billy in your hand going, I'm sorry, Billy, this is what has to happen.
That happens, yes.
How do you deal with that?
Well, Billy has lots of Billy Juniors, so it kind of helps. That helps. But I try not to get attached to the feeder insects because you have a lot of them and you can't really, because there's a lot, you can't distinguish which is which.
Right.
As for the pet insects, like the hissers and the other type of roach I have, the name, it escapes me right now.
They're very cute. I've seen them. They're very cute for roaches. When I saw them, I did not believe they were roaches.
Yeah, they're not the scary, fast, creepy other
They're really
roaches. They're plumpy, shiny, funny looking wild roaches. Anyway, I have less of them. I have some 10, 15 adults and a bunch of babies. So you get attached to them. You know, oh, it's the big male and the small male and Johnny 1, 2, 3 and others.
Yeah.
And you get sad when you see they're at the end of their lives, or
you become the reason for the end of their lives.
Yeah, you don't feed the pet ones.
Well, yeah, for sure. But still, I would imagine like if it were me, I would definitely get too attached to the bugs.
Yeah, well,
and that would be very much heartbreaking to feed the animals with other animals. Because I probably would give them names.
It would, yeah. That's my rule. If it's for food, don't give it a name. When I was a kid, we had chickens, and I named Rooster, young black rooster.
Yeah.
And then I got to eat the young black rooster that I liked very much because he was pretty and black and shiny. And yeah, that's when I realized you don't name the food animals.
Did I ever tell you that when I was a kid, I had a pet goat?
I think you mentioned it.
Yeah. And her name was Tata.
Oh. Yeah, I remember
Tata the goat. Yeah. So. Well, you can imagine where Tata ended up.
Yeah.
But I only heard about it from my parents and my grandparents that I had this apparently pet goat.
Oh, you didn't remember?
I don't remember her at all. So moving back kind of towards creature design. I think anyone who is into creature design or anything like that definitely must have this kind of innate love for animals and respect for animals in order to be able to draw and design new animals or new creatures.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
You can't have the one without the other.
Definitely. Best practice on how to develop your skills as a creature designer, number one, is learning about animals. And it's not just learning about animals in point of learning to draw animals. Nah, you have to understand the animal. You gotta understand how it works. You gotta understand the mechanic of the body parts. You gotta understand the anatomy. You gotta understand where they're coming from, what their food is, their behavior, their posture, their environment, and so on and so on. So learning about animals definitely requires a lot of time, and to become a great creature designer, you gotta learn about a lot of things. Since you've mentioned a lot of lizards and a lot of, I wanted to say amphibian, but they're not amphibians.
No, they're reptiles.
Reptiles! Ah, Jesus Christ, I couldn't remember the word. I find myself a lot of the times drawing reptile-like creatures for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Not because you're obsessed with dragons like many of us, no.
I am obsessed with dragons, sure, but not in that much Not that much. Like, I love canines and all canine breeds. So not just dogs, wolves, foxes, jackals, lynx. I don't know. You know, these type of animals are the most fascinating to me and most attractive. But I end up drawing lizards a lot.
Yeah, and they have many different shapes and sizes.
They're great. They're great to use as a basis for creating creatures.
Yeah, they're closest to the mythical dragons, and people are always fascinated by them or have been.
Throughout eons, I mean, you can tell there are a lot of stories out there. In a multitude of cultures, everyone has a version. Almost everyone has a version of the dragon, and that's fascinating. Some of them are pretty similar to each other. Some of them are quite different. But there's always a dragon-like creature.
Yeah.
Which is incredible, I think. Especially when you take into consideration that a lot of these cultures probably didn't have a chance to mix or be in contact with each other, so to create a creature that shows up in multitude of cultures is fascinating.
It almost makes you wonder.
Almost makes you wonder, could they have been real? I mean, there's a lot of theories that they could have.
We can wish.
We can wish, but why not? I mean, there's no definite proof to tell you they never existed, so yeah. Until they find out proof, they can't really tell you that it's not there.
Yeah, I think many of those myths came about when people found dinosaur bones or even raptor bones.
Yeah.
Because big birds, they are dinosaurs, basically.
Yeah. And we're still learning so much about it, and we don't know what creatures actually existed before.
Yeah.
And we're still learning and figuring out, so who knows what we'll uncover. But, speaking of creatures and myths, here's a $100 question. What's your favorite mythological creature?
Oh, that's for me.
No, I'm asking this invisible person that's sitting next to you.
That's-
Yes, that's for
the
you.
public. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, what is your favorite?
I was actually asked this similar question a long time ago by a colleague.
Okay.
And it was basically if I could choose which mythological creature would I be. Sorry, stuttering. And when I answered, she was so confused. I was like, I can't choose between the two. I like them both a lot.
Which two?
Which is the dragon and the unicorn.
Oh, the unicorn. Every girl's fantasy
Yeah.
is a unicorn. I think we've discussed this several times, how unicorns are actually pervs in mythology. Because everywhere that I've read or researched, everywhere it says that a unicorn can only be seen or attracted by tamed by a virgin maiden. Ya pervs. You pervy unicorns.
Give the rest a chance, will ya?
Yeah. So they're kind of pervy. If I would choose, that is definitely so hard. Every single creature has its pros and cons, right? So it's definitely hard to choose. But I do love the concept of chimera. They're fascinating to me, especially because generally you can't put any kind of creature into the mix.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be
wrong. Yeah.
Right, so you can be as creative as you want, basically, which that's very appealing. I don't know. I like werewolves. Werewolves are fun.
Of course.
Centaurs would be fun. Though, if you're a centaur, the age-old question: how the hell do you sleep?
Very awkwardly.
Would you like bend over at the spine, or I don't know, just
on your side, I guess?
Would you just flop to the side? You know, oh, it's nap time.
Well, maybe. Or maybe, like, horses usually sleep standing. So the horse part would
be standing and the human part would be just bent over or something.
Maybe.
Oh, wow, that did that.
Though horses do like to sleep on their sides when they're really, really resting. Some of them when they feel safe. So I'm guessing
So I'm
a
guessing
centaur
my
would sleep
idea
like
of the
that.
sideways flop would be plausible.
Yeah, yeah.
Flop. Just see it in the middle of the meadow. It's just a centaur just flopping to the side. Oh god. Yeah, but it also raises a lot of other questions. If a centaur is half human, half horse, how does it eat? How does it digestive system work? Does it have several stomachs, like something that a cow would have? How would that work?
That's interesting because horses are herbivores, but they don't have stomachs like cows. But humans have omnivore teeth, so I'm not sure how good they would be with eating just grass all the time and grains.
Or smoothies?
Smoothies?
Yeah,
What?
like green smoothies made out of I don't know any kind of green ingredients.
Oh, you mean like a modern centaur with a smoothie machine? Okay.
Yeah, with a smoothie machine in one hand, Starbucks in the other. Okay, so moving back to actual creature design and how to become a good creature designer. We've mentioned a few things you should learn and a few things you should take into consideration. And probably one of the most important of those things is learning about the anatomy of the animal and learning how they work and how their bodies work and, you know, all these parts, how they work together, how the muscles work together, how the fur, scales,
Skin.
etc., 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 all of that stuff works together and, you know, the overall mechanic of it.
Yes, actually,
Okay.
I find that the fact that I did learn anatomy in school, animal anatomy, and work with animals and stuff helps me, but also it's a burden sometimes because when I try to think of a creature that's not real or is real but needs to be stylized, I have big problems with it because I always think about how, this doesn't work like that. It has to have this bone here. It has to have this muscle here. And
right, you have to learn how to let go of all of that
yeah,
pre-knowledge and allow yourself to be creative without jeopardizing the mechanic of it.
yeah.
Yeah. I find that very funny in recent years and in a lot of entertainment that creature design has been taking a step back, in my opinion. This is just my opinion, but it has been taking a step backwards because a lot of these creatures are now becoming to be hyper realistic, meaning that a lot of either stylization, pardon me, or the character of the creature is completely lost, right? The creatures no longer have a soul, let's say,
Yeah.
in the design. And this is what I think is a major problem, is probably what you were saying, letting go of what is actually real and allowing yourself to be a little bit more creative and experiment. Because in the end, any kind of design in entertainment or whatever you're designing, is it fantasy or sci-fi or whatever you're designing for, in the end, it's supposed to be believable, not realistic.
Exactly.
Right, yeah, exactly. So I'm very much looking forward to any new designs where people do take that more creative approach and let go of hyper-realism and allow themselves to be creative, like when you're a kid and you're just, you know, putting things together. Doesn't really matter if it works. It's fun. You know?
It looks like it might work, so
yeah.
Just go with that.
Yeah.
It's a big burden for me. I'm constantly struggling with that when I try to, like with the ponies I was drawing.
Yeah.
I was making them too complicated and You just don't do that for a children's illustration. You need to do it more simplistic,
Yeah.
cuter. And my brain was just like, no, but it doesn't work that way. But it has to.
Yeah, exactly. There was a documentary I saw this year, and it featured Del Toro, who is an incredible designer, incredible movie director, just such a creative person. And his comment on creature design was that a creature design becomes a good design when the creature gets character. Because in the end, a lot of these creatures are characters in movies or comic books or games or whatever, right? They're creatures. So you gotta give them character. You gotta give them personality. Just like in real life, every animal has its own personality, you know?
You need to know the rules, but
You also need to know how to break them.
yeah.
But you can't break them unless you know them.
Yeah.
So yeah, kitties, it's all about that balance. Okay, guys, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to us talk about creature design. And if you have some tips or tricks that help you when you're doing creature design, feel free to share them down below in the comments section. And I'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Maybe with Tiana, maybe with not Tiana. We'll see. Depending if she's willing to show up.
Maybe also with Tsunokami. Because
That's the
how
same
you-
person.
You
That's the absolutely same person. Don't confuse the people.
You're confusing the people.
You're confusing the people.
You introduced me as Tsunokami.
No, you introduced yourself as Suna Akami. I never said Suna Akami, so hey.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually
Need
never
my
said
cold
your name.
medicine now.
Okay, so thank you so much for sticking by, and a special thank you to my patrons. If you want to support this art channel and support my art, please make sure to check out my Patreon page. All the information is down below, and until next time, much love.